And the reason I'm sort of having, as it were, a little sort of musical retrospective is that we will be taking a hiatus of about a month, 4 weeks, because of other commitments, more important commitments, and we will be back beginning of September. 1st of September, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be back in 1st of September. So we're just using this as a kind of midway point this year to just look back on some of the music that we've enjoyed so far. A lot of stuff that has kind of floated into a pigeonhole and that we've played on the show. And so, yeah, kick-started with the 1990s. And also, of course, selections from my motley crew. Oh, of course, just like... I like to give them a droll nickname, and why not? And so in the far corner there I have... It's a full house today, I should point out to Sidekick fans. And in the far corner there it's Harry, works in a bank.
Yeah, right, Steve.
Yeah, how's it going, mate? All right?
Yeah,
all right, mate?
not bad,
No, all right, it's me, cheers, mate. Next to him, of course, I can barely see him. He just peeks his head there, just barely able to peek his head above the desk. Swallowed, engulfed by the headphones. He's teeny tiny Dan.
Hi, thanks for that.
I like to
Thanks
think
so
of him
much.
as my very own Oompa Loompa.
Yes, last week you called me Titch. You
Yes, I did.
dropped that as a nickname.
Yes.
I'm not upset.
You seem very quiet on that microphone. Can you reach it? Hold it lower, move it lower. While we sort out Dan's microphone, let's move on to a man who needs no introduction to those of you who know him. It's Super Posh Rufus.
Hey Steve, you alright?
I've missed you because you were away last week, and so I always like to have a little bit of sort of upmarket poshness in the room.
Yeah.
I think it brings a certain something to the show.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Thanks very much indeed.
Oh.
And thanks for making room for my butler today as well.
Not at all. No,
Standing behind me, just massaging my shoulders and
Absolutely.
stroking my hair.
It's very sweet indeed, and massaging my shoulders, of course, it's Sammy.
Hello, Steve.
Hello there. How are you
And
doing?
Jean. And Jude, who's returned from illness. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm all right. Thanks very much. Yeah, thanks for asking.
You're welcome.
All right, great.
Yeah.
So that's the team. It's taken me 20 minutes to introduce them, and we've got no time for any music. Thanks. See you in September. No, as I say, we're playing tunes that we've enjoyed over the last some months, and before we get on to finding out how these people have been, and also making other general chit chat, let's have some more music. Released in May, that's I Was Definitely Made for These Times from Swedish duo Hello Safe Ride. I'm a little sidetracked from the show today, guys, because I went shopping earlier. Steve fans may be interested, he'll be popping this on the blogs, but I will be entertaining my coterie of hangers-on here later with a celebratory barbecue. You know, they've helped me on and off since January. It seems only right that I should reward them with cheap sausages and Tesco value. A little treat for you guys. But in purchasing everything this morning at the Lidl's opposite, I seem to have mislaid my wallet.
Really?
Yes, you're right to take a deep intake of breath. Not only, of course, because you can just imagine the bounty just to be found inside that wallet. You know,
Hermetically sealed inside.
no sausages for you. But also, obviously, not only could identity theft now is a big problem. So if you are working in a shop and you're listening to this, and someone comes in and goes, "All right, there, me babber, I'm Steve Merchant. You know, I want to buy all the stuff in here for free, all this jewellery." It's probably Elizabeth Duke or something. Just lean forward, lean over the counter now, and open the long coat. It's almost certainly two midgets, one still on the other one's shoulders, trying to pass themselves off as me. But of course, the terrible thing is, it's very rich for me to point the finger at those that may be sort of taking advantage of found objects like that, because, and I've mentioned this in the past, and did we discuss this, my moral conundrum that I was once faced with at university, where, did I mention this before? Yeah, I've always felt that, for those that don't remember, I was once at university and I was at the cash point, and I was meant to put my card in, and what was that? There was already a card in there. Someone had already entered their digits, but bizarrely had disappeared. Mary Celeste-like, just leaving me the option of what do I want to do? Eject the card, or for my...
You could have ordered a checkbook or something as well, couldn't you, if you wanted to?
Yes, absolutely. And probably done some kind of, top-up, prepay, mobile phone thing nowadays. I'm sure there's many, many facilities.
Yes.
In those days, of course, it was merely cash, reject. Naturally, confronted by the fact that I was not going to clean out their bank vaults, I did give myself a little £20 reward. Now, a lot of people are, you see, again, a lot of people are, but you see, I would argue that, I'd had my fingers stung in the past. I found a little old lady's purse once, sent it to her. All I got was a lovely thank you note, but no cash. I was furious. I was about 8 years old. So I thought, I'll be damned if I'm going to make that mistake again. Little £20 reward. But bear in mind, there was thousands in the account because it was a foreign student, so, there was a lot of cash.
You know.
Of course I checked. And I was it was deep. So what I mean is, it wasn't like they were on the breadline. They had a lot of money. It felt only appropriate. When you think about how much a bank now takes, when you go into a cash point in a sort of in a 7-Eleven or whatever, they charge you like £1.50. So I thought this was only just. So then I took the card and I handed it in safely. Off they went about their business.
Really safely, yeah, after pilfering £20.
Well,
You're aware this is karma. This is why your wallet's gone missing. You steal from someone else, someone's going to steal from you.
How is it stealing? It was a reward. It was a reward. It's what they would have wanted.
To get a reward, you have to do something.
Yes, but I couldn't count on their generosity. What if they stitched me up like the old lady?
She's not stitched you up.
You got a thank you card.
A thank you, Carl. I can't spend that down Argos.
You are reprehensible.
Well, we all say that. We say that, but I'm just wondering. First, I'm not going to ask you these guys, but think about it. I'm thinking there must have been situations where you were faced with an equally tricky conundrum, moral conundrum. I'll also throw it out there, 64046, Stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk. Maybe you're wrestling as we speak with a moral conundrum. You don't know what to do. Don't worry, you've already seen this panel of so-called righteous do-gooders. I'm sure I've got to find stories about all of you. Sammy, you've almost certainly got a criminal record. Oh, come on.
Not yet.
And, Rufus probably involved with some kind of...
White-collar crime of some
Yeah, some kind of white-collar crime. Or the beating of, slaves on the plantations.
Stealing antiques from Africa.
Yeah, exactly. It's something to do with ivory. Harry, I suspect some kind of embezzlement, just very subtle embezzlement going on. And in a sense, some people would say that if you work at a bank already, you're already thieving from us. Thanks very much indeed.
Yeah.
And Dan, of course, works at the BBC, so he's up to his eyeballs in outrage as we speak.
That's true.
So, 64046 if you have a moral conundrum that you'd like us to help you with. Stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk. I can never be bothered to actually say that. Everyone knows what it is by now, surely. So we haven't really got time for a pigeonhole selection this week. We can't sit there and carefully sift through them, but I'm dropping a few into the show as we go through it. So your opinions, please, for this track. I'm quite. I've got quite a soft spot for it. It's called. I think it's called "Walk You Home." Is it called "Walk You Home"? Yeah, it says on the sheet there, "Walk This Way," but I'm sure that's not right. "Walk You Home," and the band is Passenger. A while back we played Special View by The Only Ones, and I was hoping it would be the beginning of a new strand on the Steve Show, songs to voyeuristically spy on people with. And then I realised, of course, there aren't many tunes that you can add to that list, although that one I think you can, because what starts off as a chirpy pop tune, of course, reveals itself to be a lot more sinister, something which I was quite charmed by, not because I can relate to it, but because, I thought, I like little portraits of strange, weird people. That's my business. But it's a new release from Passenger, comes out September the 3rd, and it's called "Walk You Home," and I think they're Brighton based, and an album comes out later in September. Rufus, I throw myself to you straight away. Your thoughts?
Well, other famous Stalker song is, of course, "Every Breath You Take," which
Indeed.
people, it takes years for people to realise that's a very sinister song about stalking. And I thought that was really good. I thought that his voice very slightly reminded me of what James Blunt could be like if he just let himself go a little bit
Right.
and got a bit of a band behind him. James, of course, I have met and spent time with. He served in Kosovo with my brother, of course. He's Posh Boy.
Wow, of course.
Spelt Blount with an O, for people who know. His name is James Blount. He's very posh. Almost as posh as me. I like that very much. It was great.
Sammy?
Excellent.
I was getting an awful lot of vibes from that song. Marco and Take That for vocals, and also a tiny bit of a Smith song. I haven't got a stitch to wear. What's the song called? Because it's doing my head in. That one. It was just like, literally like...
Wait.
It was literally like someone put my happy playlist from my iPod in a blender, and it came out with that song, and I'm quite happy with that.
I just wondered if we've just discovered yet another Sammy talent. A nice little singing voice there, I thought.
Yeah,
that's
weekly
just
spot.
not true.
Just an
I'm
idea.
thinking maybe so.
Just an idea.
You could bring your drum kit in. Just
accompanying
you.
drumming and
Yeah,
vocals.
that would be fantastic. All right. Put that in the notebook, in the ideas, but the suggestions book for the return in September. Harry, it's the sort of thing I would imagine you'd be quite charmed by.
Yeah, I mean, it jangled a lot, and I'm a big fan of the jangle, so that was good. And lyrically it was interesting, but it just got a bit too complicated for me. I was losing track of it, I couldn't concentrate, and I wouldn't be able to sing along to it, because night vision goggles, stuff like that's not the stuff love songs are made of, Steve.
Well, maybe you couldn't follow it because you were busy talking to tiny little Dan. I asked you to pay attention during this song. You were nattering. Dan, what were you talking about? Share it with the group.
No. I put my headphones on so I could listen to the second bit of the song because I knew that Harry was doing wrong, Steve.
Okay, good.
I didn't listen to him after that. And unlike him and his tiny mind, I was able to follow the story, and lyrically I thought it was very interesting. Musically, I was trying to like it because it was jaunty and fun, but I don't know if there's a gaping hole in the middle of my soul or something, but it didn't register, so I found it a bit dull musically, but lyrically, a big tick.
Well, all I'll say now is there is a gaping hole in your soul, but let's not discuss it now. It would
Let's fill it with
lower the
sausages later.
Absolutely. And Rufus, because we've got a race ahead. We've got so much to cram in because we're trying to cram in a lot of music. Every tune today is stuff that we've stumbled across since we started the show in January. And you've chosen something that caught your ears during that period.
I have. I can't remember the first time we played this track, but I remember the second time was the first. It was the first time we played on our Glastonbury show, which Steve's show listeners will remember very clearly. We were in a small broom cupboard in a very muddy van, which wasn't really working very well. And we played the song to cheer us up. And this is Mumra. She's Got You High.
It's Steve Show, BBC Six Music, with me, Stephen Merchant, and my little posse here. And I mentioned earlier my moral conundrum once, where I took a little reward after I found some money. And I should just point out, there is a kind of happy ending of sorts, because I did walk into the student union and instantly buy everyone a drink with that £20. So, Rufus, you may well have been one of that gang. Almost certainly not Dan, he was probably busy studying. Just bought your way to a 2-1.
I was rarely seen in the union, I must say. I had my own library.
Absolutely, yeah. So there we are. But we were asking about moral conundrums that we may have faced in the past. Some people argue that this wasn't a moral conundrum at all. I was faced with. It was merely, shall I steal or not? But Sammy, you say that you've struggled with stuff.
Well, a few things. I
Who hasn't?
fear karma like you wouldn't believe.
You fear karma?
I really do fear it, and it's not even based in religion. It's based in my name is Earl. Absolutely true. So I really kind of worry about things, and I was in Asda last year.
There are other supermarkets available,
and they're plentiful. And I found it was like one of those bags you get from the bank, the plastic money things, and it was full of money.
Where did you find it?
Wodge of money next to one of the tills.
Well, hang on a minute.
Well, no,
that's where it's supposed to be.
It definitely belonged to somebody because I had like a shopping listing or something, and I was like, I have to hand it in, I have to, but I had no money at the time. And I'm thinking, God, I know this is the right thing, I know I have to do it, but I was kind of stewing about, I really should have stolen it. It wasn't that I'd taken it, I was stewing thinking, I wish I hadn't taken it, I feel sick. I was like, no, I should have taken that money. I found it was mine, and I felt really annoyed about it for days, but it did get claimed. Never mind. But I did the right thing.
You found a bag of money next to a till in a supermarket? That's not what?
No, it was in the shop.
That's like, I saw a car and the keys were running, and a man was helping a elderly lady in a wheelchair into her home, and I thought, shall I steal this car and drive off with it?
I handed it in, and I got
That's a bit rich coming from
I must say, I'm coming out pretty heavily on Sammy's moral conundrum.
Yeah, but I was young and disillusioned. Well, that's no excuse. I tell you, I'm a mix of contradictions. I don't know what to do. I don't know whether I'm coming or going. Well, so you did the right thing.
Yeah, and I had a moral conundrum-y type thing yesterday. I was at the beach, and I wore definitely the wrong outfit. I had a kind of jumper and skinny jeans on, and the sun got out, and you couldn't roll them up, and I couldn't do anything, but I had a scarf. So I took my top and my bra off and put the scarf on as a top. And I went down to the beach.
You put the scarf on as a top?
No, it was like, it's a massive scarf. It was fine. Everything was fine until I ran away from a wave and full on flashed a seagull and small boy. The small boy was fine with it. It was natural. It was normal. But the seagull did not take it well.
Really?
Yeah.
How did this seagull manifest itself?
I don't know if it was a breeze. I don't know if it was just a gog. But it kind of stumbled out of the air and had to rectify itself.
It just did something unpleasant on a little boy's head.
So I went and sat back in my jumper and sweated for a while, feeling terrible about life.
You wore a scarf to the beach. Pop it in the Sammy book. Okay, tunes that we have discovered over the past months. You mentioned Glastonbury, Rufus, and this was another tune that I think kind of caught our ear when we were down there. The band is called The Rushes, and here's a tune called Ripping It Down, which they released on their own label back in July. Currently working on their debut album.